Audra here, and today I'm going to be reviewing How It Ends, which is on Netflix, if you have Netflix. I like this movie. So it's an end of the world movie. Now, first of all, let me tell you, the IMDb score is horrible. And I find it very interesting because when it comes to the horror thriller genre, which is mostly what I'll review here, you probably will not catch me reviewing virtually any romantic comedy of any form because, like, boo. But no, it's not my interest. I'm a horror lover and a horror fiend. I grew up on Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I grew up on Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th. Like, I'm horror through and through. But I also do love a great end of the world movie. So, How It Ends. This is a end of the world movie, and if you haven't seen it, there are spoilers. It may ruin the movie, it may not. If you have seen it, maybe you'll have a different view on it, but its IMDb score is crap. What I find interesting about IMDb scores, and again, hello Bosco. All right, so what I find interesting about IMDb is people are always saying things like, I want an original movie, and then when they get an original movie, they're like, boo, not that original. This is that original. So this is a different type of end of the world movie. What I love about it is it's very raw. So it's also a coming of age movie as well, about a man learning to become a man, not like a real man in the sense of like, oh, I shoot guns, like that's part of it, but it's more about him realizing like what survival is really about, what life really was and is. Aside from that corporate structure of life where you just kind of sit in your office and you do your thing and type things up. So how this begins is he is going to see his pregnant girlfriend's family, and he is trying to get, a blessing to marry her. She is still in Seattle, and I can't remember where he goes, but he goes to visit her family. And it goes bad. It goes real bad. And it goes so bad that he ends up being asked to leave by the mom. It's horrible. But the point is, in the morning, he's talking to his girlfriend, and she's telling him, like, my mom said, and then all of a sudden, that's when the action starts. She hears a loud noise. He hears a loud noise. They're FaceTiming, and all of a sudden, the phone goes dead. He's scared. This is how it begins. This is how the end begins. So the whole movie is just kind of a run of trying to go and get the daughter. The father is, Bosco, man, hold on. So this basically becomes a race, as most end of the world movies do, to save someone. So this is to save the daughter and girlfriend in Seattle. And he goes with the dad, and a lot of stuff, goes down. One of the things that were noted in IMDb was like, why was the guy in the police car so like crazy and desperate with, everything, and like had a shotgun after one day? All right, let me just answer that question for you. Have you ever tried to leave your house and then you're like, oh, Bosco, sit. Nah, sit. He's not going to sit. I just got him, and he is really excited. He's my emotional support animal, and he is extremely excited and happy to be here. And now he's just like up and ready to hang. So sorry. So have you ever tried to leave your house and you can't find your phone? Does panic not immediately set in? Like, where's my phone? Where's my phone? I got to find my phone and find my phone. Why does that happen? Because everything you need is in your phone. Directions, phone numbers, everywhere you need to visit the web, all your websites, all your passwords, looking at the bank. Everything you need is on your phone. So you have the attachment to it that's not just about selfies. There's like, your life is in there. You may have schedules and stuff like that in there as well. So, you will be late to work. Like, many of us have been late to work just trying to find our phones because we're like, no, can't go anywhere until I find that thing, because like my whole life, where did I put it? Where did I put it? Where did I put it? And that becomes your mantra. Same thing with this. End of the world, true life scenario. The second that everything goes down and the grid goes down and you can't communicate with anybody, there is no news, there's nothing to tell you what's happened, there's nothing to tell you what's going on, and essentially all the rules of society have been sucked out, you become crazy. Like, nobody is going to be a normal person. You don't know when there's going to be more gas. Okay. You don't know when there's going to be more gas. You don't know where more gas is going to come from. You know you can't communicate with one whole other part of the country. And for a little while you had electricity and then it was gone. So that is like the collapse of society. That is the collapse of society. When you can no longer reach out and communicate to anybody else. I mean, my cell phone is my life. If I got on this thing and I could not, like, I couldn't use it and I couldn't communicate, I couldn't get on YouTube, I couldn't get on the internet, I couldn't do anything, I'm going to freak out. Like, I just am. And that's the reality of how it would all end. Like, if everything just went down, chaos is going to erupt immediately. And if anybody thinks differently, just stop, pause, and realize that, like, if you knew that nobody was watching you, there were no laws, nothing, like, everything's gone and you have no idea when it's coming back. That's the main point. You have no idea when or if it's coming back. So yes, the police car thing that everybody talks about and IMDb, I completely got it. You have to, like, really get the subtext of a movie if you really want to enjoy it. This is one of those how the world ends, like, end of the world movies where instead of it being heavy-handed and, like, heavy-fisted with, like, this whole explanation of what happened, why it happened, and all of this stuff, doesn't do that. It takes you on this journey of just really a father and son. You later find out the young man, played by Theo something. Let me just look this up. So the young man trying to get the hand of the father's daughter is played by Theo James, and his character is Will Younger. Kat Graham, which you've seen her in different CW things, but she plays Samantha Sutherland, which is his girlfriend, and she is gorgeous, as usual, in this movie. And then, of course, there's Forrest Whitaker, and he plays her father. So the thing about it is that it's really a father and son, because Will basically doesn't have a father. He has one of those absentee dads that was, like, there, then not there, and then kind of got a new family, and so he just sort of saw him, and you get the feeling that he saw him out of courtesy rather than, like, I love you, Dad. So they're going on this trip, they're driving together, and throughout the road trip, Will starts to learn more and more about trust and who you can't trust, and how the world is not what he thought it was. One of the reasons it's like that is because his father-in-law, soon to be one day, Tom, played by Forrest Whitaker, was in the military and was in war. And so he's essentially preparing Will for war throughout this movie. Throughout the trip, he's preparing him for war. He is preparing him for the dangers of what's out there. He is getting him set up and ready for what he's going to run into. Along the road trip, there are some good moments, there's some happy moments, there's some sad moments, and there's some jacked up moments. And you do run into that kind of Mad Max feeling where, you know, roads are shut down, obviously because of all of the crazies that are running around with shotguns trying to get supplies and steal them from people. So you do have that element of it, which I, knew was going to be there. It's in every end of the world movie. There's not an end of the world movie where there's not, jackals trying to, like, take all the supplies and, like, everybody's freaking out. I mean, that's how it is. And you would think people would work together, but we can't, because human nature is not like Bosco's nature, where we would try to find a way to work together for a common goal. Instead, everybody's just like, I gotta be out for myself. F you guys. So he finally gets there. Will gets there. He gets to his girl. But when he gets to his girl, there's another dude there. And you know exactly where this is going. The preparation for this was subtle and creepy. And you kind of saw it coming. Like, you didn't realize it up until that moment happened, up until they first meet, that Tom has been preparing Will for this exact moment. Because he asked him to protect his daughter no matter what. And he prepared him for this moment. And basically you knew, it's the end of the world. There's one beautiful woman, two guys, one whom she already loves and was planning on marrying, and another who was their neighbor, subtext again, and saved her and brought her to this other place. And the subtext in that is that, the neighbor saves her. Why does the neighbor dude save her? Because she's hot? Why else does he save her? Probably because, I don't know, he's probably had his eye on her the whole time they've lived there. So, this is not one of those end of the world movies that ends with, the fabulous, voiceover that says, and then afterwards, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't do one of those fast forward to what the world looks like. It doesn't do any of that. It just ends. A lot of people on IMDb were dogging that ending. They're like, it's like he forgot to make an ending to the movie. No, he didn't forget. He did not forget to make an ending to the movie. That was the ending of the movie. It bothers me so bad when people just don't get it. The director was David M. Rosenthal. He didn't forget the end. What he did was brilliant and gorgeous and fabulous. And why was it brilliant, gorgeous, and fabulous? Because for the first time in an end of the world movie, it wasn't glossed over. There wasn't like and then the power came back on. There wasn't like a rebuilding of society. There wasn't a voiceover of how everything turned out well. Literally, it was just like they're outrunning this disaster of some form that we're not exactly sure of. It's nature-based. We don't know exactly what it is. It looks like it's some kind of solar flare, some kind of solar cloud that's happening, and that's also causing, eruptions of volcanoes, all this kind of stuff. So all we see is them outrunning it, them kissing each other, saying they love each other, and then that's it. That's it. That is a brilliant ending to an end of the world movie. When people say they want something different, obviously they don't, because what they wanted was for this to say, for them to outrun it, and then for there to be some kind of flash forward to them with their baby and some kind of little like society, and everybody's just kind of like chilling off the grid and like regrowing corn. That's not really how it's going to end. Like, let's be honest. If we were looking at real life, like a real life scenario, which is why I thought this movie was brilliant, fabulous. I was way into it from start to finish because it felt very real, and it felt very much like how the world would actually end, like how it would all actually go down. The chaos, the panic, and no heavy-fisted, like The Day After Tomorrow, 2022, 2018, like all those movies. The thing about them is they were very heavy-handed. They're blockbuster movies, so they're very heavy-handed. Blockbuster movies, not to be offensive to anybody, but they're meant for a lot of times the lowest common denominator. So they have to do all this like explanation of what happened. So there's like this guy running around, he's a scientist, and he's like, everybody, the world's gonna freeze, we're all gonna die, and this is why, and let me show you my graphs and charts. Like, that's what happens every single time in these movies, like every single time. And some scientists have the graphs, have the charts, have explaining exactly what's gonna happen, when it's gonna happen, why it's gonna happen, and everybody's like, oh no! And then, the end happens, and then there's some kind of voiceover that's like, then this happened, and like, everything started going back to normal, blah, blah, we soldiered on. Or they do the flash forward like they did in World War Z and just stuff like that. So I thought that this was brilliant and original and that it didn't do any of that. There was no heavy-handed push. There was a lot of good atmosphere. The soundtrack was great. I thought it was really, really good. I thought the music built the suspense at the right time. And even just the atmosphere of the movie, like the cinematography was great. So the atmosphere around certain things let you know that things were like dangerous before they were actually dangerous. So if you're looking for a good end of the world movie to actually settle into, have a good time, and really like have an original thing happen, this is it. How it ends is it. So that is just my 2 cents. That's how I feel about this movie. I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I hope you come back for more. All right, guys, this is Audra signing off, and Netflix and Prime, my thing. See you again for the next one.